Look, see, it's like this. When I'm on my throne, I'm hustling out here.
Welcome to the Harsh Realities Podcast. I'm your host, Damo Unleashed. I'm about to switch gears, man. I'm a diehard Indianapolis Colts fan. Been a Colts fan since Jack Trudeau, Clarence Verdin, Chris Chandler, Eric Dickerson. So I've been following the Colts a long time. Been through the Jeff George era, the Quentin Corey Yacht, Steve Edmond era. I've been through it with the Indianapolis Colts, right? So, recently the topic of discussion have been the value of running backs. Now, I think that a lot of people think that running backs aren't valued enough. I think they're overvalued. And I wanted to make sure, because I didn't want to just base it off emotions. I wanted to, look up some stats to see if the stats back up my opinion on why I think they're overvalued, or I think they overvalue themselves. But I want y'all to check this out, right? So I was looking at a lot of stats from 2022 season. So I looked up the top 5 running backs. It was Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook. Okay? Of them 5, only one of them made the playoffs, and that was Dalvin Cook. I looked at the top 5 quarterbacks: Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, and Justin Herbert. The 4 out of that 5 on that list made the playoffs. You know who didn't make the playoffs? Aaron Rodgers, okay? So I was like, well, let me dig a little deeper. Let me look at the top 10 running teams, the top 10 passing teams. Here's what I found out. Top 10 rushing teams: Chicago, Baltimore, Atlanta didn't make the playoffs. New York Giants made the playoffs, got knocked out in the divisional round. The Eagles made the Super Bowl and lost in the Super Bowl. Cleveland Browns didn't make the playoffs. San Francisco made the NFC Conference. Dallas made the divisional, and Buffalo made the divisional and lost, right? Now, of them 10 teams, and then let me make sure I got the 10. Carolina was the other one. Carolina did not make the playoffs, right? So, of those 10 teams, 5 of them did. The Giants, the Eagles, the Niners, Dallas, Buffalo. Do you know the top running back for Buffalo was at 819 yards? San Francisco, who made the Super Bowl, their top running back rushed for 746 yards. Okay? Now, the Eagles, they had a running back rush for over 1,200 yards, but their quarterback rushed for 760 yards. Then you had the Giants, who Saquon rushed for 1,300 yards. Okay? Now, looking at the passing teams, top 10 passing teams, check this out. KC, Minnesota, the Chargers, the Dolphins, the Buccaneers, the Bengals, the Lions, the Eagles, and the Bills, and the Seahawks, okay? So those were the top 10 passing teams. Of those 10 teams, 9 of them made the playoffs. Of those 10 teams, only 2 of them had ranked in the top 10 in rushing and passing. That is Philadelphia and Baltimore. Okay? Which, one of them made the playoff. One of them made the Super Bowl, but neither one of them won the Super Bowl. Okay? So, Jonathan, I just want to say this, man. You need to fire your agent. Your agent is misinformed. The Colts, being a Colt fan, you've had some great seasons, but they have yielded what? They haven't even yielded a playoff spot. So how valuable are you running backs if you're running for 14, 15, 1,600 yards, but your team don't even make the playoffs? Because there are teams on this passing list that did not rank in the top 10 in rushing and still made the playoffs. There are teams in this top 10, like the top two, matter of fact, the top three running teams, none of them made the playoffs. So why should we value running backs? I ain't even I'm the owners, they got their own. I'm saying as fans. I watch Marlon Mack, who I'm a big fan of Marlon Mack, man. And if it weren't for injuries, man, who knows? The sky's the limit with that dude. That dude's skill set was phenomenal. JT, you forget, we replaced Marlon Mack, who was a 1,000-yard rusher, with you. We could replace you with somebody else. Now, I'm not saying that it won't hurt Indy in the short term. Of course it will, because we weren't prepared for this. But even though it's going to hurt Indy in the short run, guess what's going to hurt in the long run? Because here's something that you guys don't factor in when y'all talk about y'all value. We don't value you based on what you did in the past. Your value as a running back is projected on based on what we think you're going to do in the future. And we've seen running backs decline very, very fast. And y'all don't even get as many touches as y'all used to because more running backs like Lamar, Jalen Hurts, I think Anthony Richardson, Josh Allen, more quarterbacks are running the ball. Justin Field, I could go on and on. More quarterbacks are running the ball more than ever. So your value isn't the same. On top of JT, your best year is when our offensive line was ranked as one of the top 3 offensive lines. Last year, you had a bad year. And guess where our offensive line was ranked? And you had injuries. So you had injuries last year. Your projection or your production dipped, and you want us to go ahead and give you $16 million? I mean, man, I agree with fans when they say that they should just, if they don't want to pay you, let you walk. But what happens when you walk and you don't even get that with another franchise? Because it's funny how the discussion has been what you want, but not what you will take. The question is, what are these other franchises willing to pay you? Because there are running backs who are better, and Nick Chubb is one of them. I think Nick Chubb is way better than Jonathan Taylor. If you put Nick Chubb and Indy's up behind Indy's line, oh man, he would have been a Derrick Henry. Put Derrick Henry behind the Colts line. Oh, they would have already been 2,000-yard rushers. At least we could say with Derrick Henry, he has been, and he has carried the team to the playoffs. Even Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb, we can say, have carried his team to the playoffs. Jonathan Taylor, man. I mean, man, we was knocking at the door, and you let us down. Did nothing in the game that we needed you, and you disappeared. So I'm just saying, man, you need to probably go ahead and fire that agent, because that agent going to have you out of the league like Colin Kaepernick. The scenario's different, but when you get the value in yourself up here and everybody else value you down here as far as your production, then you know how that can turn real quick. But I just wanted to get that out there, man. No, if it was me and I was an owner, I am not paying no running back over $10 million. Sorry, not happening. I watched the Titans pay Chris Johnson a lot of money, and after they paid him that money, his production dipped. I've seen Melvin Gordon man, request a trade and go and do what you're doing, Jonathan Taylor. And Eckler came in and replaced him easily. Now you don't even hear Melvin Gordon discussed and the way that you used to hear him discussed. Don't become that guy, Jonathan Taylor. I'm just telling you. Look at the stats, look at the numbers, look at the teams, what they're doing, and where they rank and what category to get an understanding. Don't listen to these media members. Don't listen to this Asian of yours, man, who ignorant. Man, you better do that homework yourself. Because you're going to fumble the bag, man. You don't fumble the ball a lot, but you sure about to fumble that bag. I'm just telling you, take advice. Take advice.